Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin, I should warn you that some of you may find what you are about to hear rather disturbing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Until Dawn podcast. As always, my name is Coy, and with me this time, so I don't make us lose any more subscribers, my wife Felicia.
Hello. Yeah, I know. I've been slacking and not recording with you. I was just telling Heather on Facebook that it is not my fault because I go to bed at like 7 o'clock every night.
I'm pretty sure you're the only paranormal investigator that goes to bed at 7 o'clock before it's even dark.
I know.
That's pretty much the worst hours for paranormal.
Yeah, I know.
From like, everyone else is like dusk till dawn. You're like dawn to dusk.
I do get up at like 4 in the morning, but...
Yeah, I still don't know exactly why you get up at 4 in the morning.
I don't either. But it sucks for you because that means you get up at 4 in the morning.
You're right. I don't get up usually till 5 at least, sometimes 5:30. And that's when I work. But you want to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning on the weekends.
Yeah. And I have nothing to do. I just lay there harassing you.
Yes.
But that's what it is to be married to me. Lots of harassment.
So yes, as everybody can tell, we've dusted off the microphones, fired up the laptop, back for another episode. We're almost on the same schedule as Santa. I know we're kind of about to roll into
Santa?
it, you know? Yeah, it comes once a year. We put an episode out about once a year.
You come more than once a year. Boom.
So anyway, we're back. Tonight we're going to be talking about one of your favorite topics.
Actually, my least favorite, probably because that happened to me, but sleep paralysis.
Yep, that's right. Tonight we're talking about sleep paralysis, but I'm going to hold some of the details back. We got some pretty good stuff. I found a couple different folklore from other countries and kind of what their interpretation has been on it. And then you'll probably share your story, I hope.
I hope. I don't know. I'm like always freaked out to try to share it because then I'm afraid it's going to happen to me again.
Everyone that's listening right now is on the edge of their seat hoping to hear the story.
Great. I'm going to disappoint them. Now you've put like way too much pressure on me to tell a good story.
That's not true. Your story's good. So
you have to say that.
I don't have to say that.
Yes,
okay, maybe I have to say that. Beyond that, we also have a couple different spooky scoops for you. I know you got a story, right?
Yes, I do.
You too? Okay,
I do.
Great. So do I. Alright, so on that note, let's take a quick break and dive into some spooky scoops.
You've heard of this big cat that's supposed to be around? Of course. Some say it's a puma, others a giant ape, and still others say it's the sukara. A sukara? It's a new kind of animal to me. That's a famous jungle demon that tears living animals to shreds with its claws and then feeds upon them. Has been known to attack humans also. Hasn't so far, I hope. No. But I'm sure it will.
Alright, so as everybody knows, spooky season's kind of coming to an end, but that does not mean that spooky stuff is not still happening. So I know you got a story, so why don't you start us off?
Well, mine's not really spooky.
Yours isn't really spooky.
No, but it's about something kind of spooky. I don't know. That didn't make sense. So, do you remember that ghost on Twitter? What was his name?
No, why don't you refresh my...
Okay, Adam Ellis. He was like a writer for BuzzFeed, and he had a ghost that was haunting his apartment, he said.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember this? I'm sure you don't.
I kind of do.
Like, he
a little
said
bit.
it was a
Like,
little
there was,
boy,
like,
and he had like
pictures,
a...
the little boy with like the
painted head.
skull or something.
Yeah. So anyway, that's being made into a movie.
That's
I
interesting.
picked this because it says that the producer of the horror film It will produce it with New Line Films. But that's very vague.
Yeah, because I mean, there was probably more than one producer on it. I don't remember exactly who the producer of it was.
No.
But more than likely, there was probably more than one. So
probably there's another movie called It too, which is really horrible. But what's funny about this is he named the ghost Dear David.
That's what, yeah, Dear David.
But I was confused, and I kept thinking it was Bad Ben.
Bad Ben.
Do you remember Bad Ben?
No. Wait, was Bad Ben those horrible
Yes.
movies that we watched on Amazon that were like...
Yes.
I mean, granted, for the amount of money that was probably used to film it, and it was definitely like homemade independent film, but it was
How many was
awful.
there? 3?
There was like 3 of them.
Do we watch all 3?
No,
we watched 2 at least.
We did watch 2 of them.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Bad Ben, you should watch it just to see it. It's literally the first one. I think one guy.
Yeah.
In the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like one.
It's
dude.
very like found footage, very rough, very independent. But I mean, you could. But
I
it was
weirdly enjoyed it.
the first one was good.
The second one.
Yeah.
When he got I don't think I finished it.
When he got a little bit more money and stuff, the second
got
one
a big head.
Yeah. But the first one was really good. I mean, it was very independent. It had a very real feel to it. The acting left a little bit to be desired, to put it nicely.
Yeah.
But overall, I did enjoy it. I mean, I recommend if you have nothing to do, maybe if you have a bunch of people over and you're drinking, and
you don't have to really pay attention.
Right, something to put on in the background that everybody could laugh at and enjoy. Maybe like make a drinking game out of it. I think, it would be good.
Yeah. Why did we watch it? We were stuck home.
We were home. I don't know why.
I don't remember why.
Yeah. We were home. We couldn't go anywhere. And we were like, we found them on Amazon. They're on Amazon Prime. So if you're a Prime member.
It's free on Amazon Prime.
Right after you get done listening to this podcast, you could go watch that.
Watch Bad Ben.
But not before you get done.
No.
All right. So my story comes from upstate New York. And the actual event happened about a little over a year ago. It was in January of 2017. But I actually just saw it today, and it was actually just reported on a website that I go to pretty regularly. And there's a video of a figure that's solid. In the beginning of the video, you see it running across the snowy yard, and as the video goes on, the figure disappears. So I'm going to play this for Felicia right now, and then I'll put the link in the show notes so you guys can go ahead and watch this. Let's see what you think. There's no audio, but it'll be pretty quick and kind of talk over it as it plays. So that right there in the top of the video, you can kind of see the guy running across and then disappears. What do you think?
I think that's crazy.
It's interesting in the fact that, like, through the whole thing, you can see through the figure. What I don't quite get is this is in somebody's backyard. In the very beginning, you can see a flash of light, and you can kind of see glowing around the eyes.
His eyes glow. I mean, he's obviously running into a portal where the Sasquatch live.
He's running into a Sasquatch portal?
Yes,
Is that because it's upstate in New York, or is that just your first analysis?
That's what happens when people disappear.
Oh, well, that does make sense. It makes about as much sense as this video. I mean, it's hard to say. You can tell in the video it says that came from a security camera that an individual put up in their backyard because their dog kept barking. It's hard to say exactly what it is because the person is recording a video off of like a monitor. So they're panning around with their camera while they're trying to record it, probably on like a cell phone. I'm guessing because it's got the blurry things on the side.
Like, is the camera following
No,
the guy?
That's the thing. The camera's not following the thing.
Okay, I see. He's moving it.
He's moving the camera on his phone.
So it makes more sense.
So the security camera is not actually panning around.
And is that fog?
I don't know what it is. It's January. It's January in
snow on
upstate
the
New
ground.
York. So I figured it's kind of like, I just picture like the day after tomorrow all the time up north. Like I just picture the frozen tundra because it's like up north. Like I said, I'll put a link in the show notes.
We can post it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll share it on our Facebook page as well. It's interesting. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, if it's somebody that's faking it, I kind of applaud them because they did a pretty good job. It's a black and white video. It definitely looks like it's a night vision on a security system. It's interesting. There's no real explanation on the website, on the story. Some people say that it's, of course, Bigfoot. Other people think it might be like an alien. I think those are always like the two top choices.
Right.
It's interesting to me because you can definitely see that the eyes are glowing.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep thinking because there's like that flash of light first.
Right, there's a flash
that
of
makes
light
me
at
look.
first.
It almost looks like they have a flashlight in their hand. That's how the light is on the ground, but they don't.
My only thing is like you can obviously see that that whatever it is disappears.
Right.
So
Into the portal.
But you don't actually see a portal. Is it kind of like on Star Trek where they just kind of teleport?
I guess so. I never watched Star Trek.
You ever seen the new ones? I like the
No.
new ones. No?
What? Who are you?
Quit judging me. I can't believe you've never seen Star Trek. Not even like the old ones?
No, I've never seen Star Trek. I've never seen Star Wars, any of them.
Which is crazy because our son loves Star Wars.
He does, but no. I just can't. I don't know.
Well, you watched the Star Wars thing when we were at Disney World.
I did, and I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, all these characters, and people are excited, and I'm just like, yep.
It's got Harrison Ford in it. How
That's
do you not
it?
like-
I didn't even know that. Oh, wait,
my
yes,
God.
I did. Yes, I did. Because I saw a meme with him.
What do you mean you saw a meme?
It was like him and that girl with the cinnamon
Well, you're making the
roll.
crazy. You're making the crazy
ear
symbol with your
things.
cinnamon
Yeah.
roll. Princess Leia.
Yes, her.
Oh my gosh, we're losing subscribers. Like they're just dropping off. Like delete.
Now, I
delete.
do love Spaceballs. That's my jam.
Everybody loves Spaceballs.
I can handle that. That's like my favorite.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if we gained subscribers on that or just
Spaceballs? Really?
everybody loves Spaceballs.
Right.
But anybody that loves Spaceballs already unsubscribed when you said that you hated Star Trek and Star Wars. Like usually people.
Did I say I hated it?
I
No.
no.
I said I'd never seen it. Nor
you-
do I want to.
Exactly. Usually there's like, one side of the fence and everybody's on one side or the other side. But you didn't even show up. Alright, let's take a quick break.
Can we talk
Well-
about the fact it's snowing?
It is snowing.
It is like the first week of November and it is snowing.
Yeah, for anybody that's listening to this, I guess they're not really live, so I don't know when you're listening to this, but when we're recording, it's snowing.
Yeah. I just saw that Jason Kupsik put something about snow.
Yeah, he lives north of us, so I think they're really actually getting it up there.
I miss living there for the snow. I mean, it was cold and I
It was
hated
cold
that
and
because
blizzard.
it makes
No,
me
we
angry.
came home. Like we came home from vacation.
We came home for leave
Right.
from the military.
We came back, and our car was completely covered. There was a blizzard while
There was
we
a
were gone.
blizzard.
Like
We missed that.
completely covered over the roof.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Had to dig up my car out.
Oh, yeah. The good old days.
Not the good old days.
The funny thing is, we lived in Arizona before that.
That's right.
So we went from like
did.
one extreme to the
Southern
other.
Arizona.
Yeah. I do miss Arizona too.
Yeah.
I miss everywhere but Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Well, they say no place was better than the place you left.
That's true.
So, while we're taking a break, we'll go. I guess we don't really need to shovel it; it's all melting away. But
Right. Yeah, it's not that kind of
it's
snow.
not that kind of snow.
It's more like
But we're gonna take
Snow
a break.
sprinkles?
We're gonna get to the bottom of this Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Make her pick a side. Make her watch the movies. So we'll be right back, and then we're gonna dive into our main topic: sleep paralysis.
A sudden draft from a window that was supposed to have been closed. A chill at the back of the neck. Groans, creaks, and bumps in the night. Man has always been frightened by the dark. Troubled by noises just beyond the reach of lights. Occurrences just beyond the reach of understanding.
Alright, we're back. Unfortunately, we did not get to the bottom of this whole Star Trek, Star Wars thing.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Everybody loves Spaceballs. You can't choose Spaceballs.
Do
you have to
they?
pick. You have to pick between those two. Alright, so I'm gonna need some outside help. Give us recommendations. Whichever movie everybody picks.
Wait, is Star Trek a movie?
Star Trek's multiple movies and there's TV series.
Oh, God.
So send us your movie suggestions. Whichever movie gets chosen the most, I'm gonna sit down, make her watch the whole thing.
No.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we're gonna do this. We're gonna sit
Not
down and watch
happening.
the whole movie, whichever one everybody picks.
Ugh, but there's like 30 Star Wars
Right,
movies.
so we're gonna have everybody narrow it down to one movie, or we'll take the most suggested one. Well, we're gonna make you watch
People are assholes, so they will suggest the worst one.
Maybe there's one that you'll like. Anyway, make the suggestions, whichever one everybody chooses. We're gonna make her watch it, and then we'll talk about it.
And it better be Spaceballs.
We're gonna talk about it on whichever podcast we do next.
Oh, God. I have no faith in people. I know what I would do.
I know you would do. What would you do?
I would do the wrong thing. I would recommend the worst one.
You would recommend the worst one?
Because that's what I do.
Well, as long as they don't recommend like the first 3 remakes
Of what?
Star Wars, you're gonna be
There's that
okay.
many?
I'm thinking like Star Trek Wrath of Khan. That's like a famous one. Everybody knows that one. That like Star Trek. I like that one. That's like old. Oh gosh, what's his name? I'm on the spot now. William Shatner.
Oh, yeah. He does that crime show I like.
That crime show. What crime show?
Unsolved Mysteries. What, isn't that him?
No, that's definitely not William Shatner.
Yes, it is.
That is not William Shatner. Any subscribers that we had left, just unsubscribe. People
What
like
is
stopped
wrong?
listening right there at that sentence.
Wait, I'm Googling this as you speak. Okay.
It wasn't William Shatner, was it?
No. I swear it was William Shatner.
No, it was Robert Stack. He did the majority. He did the ones that everybody remembers. He was doing it for like 280 something episodes. It was Robert Stack. And then it was another guy, but I can't remember his name.
God, I hate being wrong.
I know. Now I'm going to use this against
William
you.
Shatner did a lot of stuff, though.
Of course William Shatner did. Everybody loves William Shatner. But we're not talking about William Shatner tonight, regardless of how great he is. Tonight we're talking about sleep paralysis. So why don't we go ahead and kick off with your story,
Okay.
and you tell us about your experience with sleep paralysis.
Okay, so this happened at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Not our first house, our second. The one on Bullard. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that
That was the one we had really weird things happen in it all the time.
Yeah, that you had.
And your mom.
Yeah, and my mom.
Like weird things. Remember that night the lampshade fell? Do you remember that? In the laundry room?
Yes, actually, I do remember
So we
that.
thought it fell and broke. It did break. But then when we went to check, the screw that held it on was still screwed into the... That was weird.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Lots of weird things at that house.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was probably 2009. I think I was pregnant with our youngest. And you were at work. You worked at the prison. And I was asleep on the couch, right? And so I was laying there and I could hear somebody walking up the hallway. But it sounded like cowboy boots on wood, like wood floor. So I was laying there and I could hear like it sounded like cowboy boots like walking up. But there was carpet. I think I already said that. So I was laying there and I remember I like opened my eyes but I could not move. And it was the worst feeling ever. So then I could hear the boots like walking up closer and closer, and I still get goosebumps talking about it. And so it would have been like coming up behind me from where I was sitting on the couch or sleeping on the couch. And then I heard it, like I could hear breathing, like creepy, like that, like
horror movie breathing.
And then, so I can move my eyes around, I remember. It was so scary. And I was kind of looking to the left because that's where the sound was coming from, but I couldn't see anything. And then I felt like on my chest, it felt like somebody was hitting me really hard. And I was so scared. And then it seemed like forever. It was probably only like a minute, but I could feel it like beating my chest. And then all of a sudden I was able to move. But it scared the shit out of me. And I remember I did not want to sleep for like a week after. I was like, I'm not going to bed because I was so scared it would happen again. And I still have this fear that if I talk about it, it'll happen again. Because it was such a horrible experience.
So we'll let you know if it happens again.
Hope not.
So does that mean that, like, if everyone that listens to this episode,
yeah,
it'll be you telling it again, so it might happen continuously from here on out because everybody's replaying you talking about it?
What? No. What? I hope not. But that was probably one of the most terrifying things that's ever happened to me. And I have a coworker. It's happened to her a few times.
Did she tell you about it?
Yeah, but I can't remember. I know she was like, and I just started saying the Lord's Prayer.
So has it happened again besides that?
No, it hasn't.
So only one time?
Only once. And I know some people, it happens to them all the time.
Right.
Good Lord, no. I would never sleep. I would be like admitted to a psych ward.
See, I can't, to be honest, I don't think it's ever happened to me. I'm sure that, because I've heard the stories and stuff of other people that it's happened to. We watched that documentary on Netflix.
Oh yeah, The Nightmare.
The Nightmare. Which, well, I watched some of that. No, I can't say I watched all of it.
I will say I liked it better the first time, like 3 years ago. I tried to watch it again and I was just like, what the hell?
It's
like, I get it. Some of those people,
they
I mean,
took
it's
some
real.
liberties.
It's real to them. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
can I
it's their
say?
real experience, and I mean, take their interpretation as you will.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know it happens pretty regularly. I mean, it happens to a lot of people, and it's happened for a very long time. But, like I said, I mean, it hasn't happened to me, so I don't have that first-hand experience to go off of.
I'm almost surprised it hasn't happened to you.
Why is that?
Because, like, I told you, like, the other night you were asleep and you were, like, moaning.
What?
Remember? I woke you up. Do you remember? You were like, ah, scaring
No.
me and stuff.
I don't. I was asleep. So I don't think your story's true. I think it's fake. I think it's made up.
Fake news.
Yep. I mean, I don't remember it,
Right.
so it must not have happened.
Right. Next time I'll record it.
No, that's okay. But speaking of other people experiencing this, other cultures as well have experienced it. All right, so I did pull a couple different stories from around the world and what their interpretation of it is based on folklore. So in certain parts of Brazil, there are folkloric tales of a creature with long fingernails that lurks on people's rooftops during the night. The creature called the Pisadera. I might be wrong. Comes into a person's house and tramples on the chest of the person that is sleeping, according to different stories.
And see, in a lot of stories, it's like something to do with the chest. Like, you can't breathe or something's pushing on the chest. And with me, it was the, like, pounding on my chest.
Right, so maybe that was that creature. I'm not gonna try to say that again.
That one.
And then in certain regions in Spain, there's a tale of everything has like a horrible name that I can't pronounce. I almost said placenta. Placenta, which is a black animal, often a dog or a cat, that invades. Are you okay up there?
Did you say placenta?
No, I said placenta.
Did you say... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So the placenta invades people's homes and sits on their chest while they're asleep, making it difficult to breathe and causing nightmares. So that's pretty similar to what you were talking about,
right,
with the pressure on your chest. And then in Newfoundland, it's called the Old Hag, which this is probably one of the most famous.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people will talk about the Old Hag, and it comes and sits on the sleeping person. And among different ethnic groups in Vietnam and Laos, it's also called the pressing spirit, which is very similar to the Old Hag. And it sits on the sleeper's chest and tries to asphyxiate them, which may be related to people not being able to breathe, and so they automatically...
Yeah.
And then in Mexico, the idea of weight holding someone down also is reflected in the terminology used to describe the sleep paralysis. According to a story translated from Spanish, the phrase means a dead body climbed on top of me.
Oh, that's so creepy. I don't like that one.
You don't like that one?
No.
You're okay with the Old Hag.
Oh, yeah. Actually, the Old Hag, I was picturing like when you're sleeping on the couch and I want attention and I go and sit on you. That's probably
maybe I have experienced this and I didn't know it.
Right.
And then in the Inuit culture, people tell of shamans who can cast spells on people in sleeping and cause them an experience called, oh my gosh, Euphornig, during which a person can't move, talk, or scream, so pretty much they're paralyzed, and is visited by a shapeless or faceless presence. And then finally, the last one I was able to find is in Japanese folklore, and refers to a summoner who calls upon a vengeful spirit to suffocate enemies through a phenomenon called kanashibari. I don't know if that might actually been the closest one I've gotten all night, which is a state of being totally bound and is constrained by mental chains. So those are some of the folklore.
And they're all horrible, right?
Right. Which, I mean, I guess if you're experiencing this, your whole situation is horrible. Was that anything similar to what you had?
I would say, yeah, like with the chest thing. I did see that in China, they call it ghost depression. Obviously, that's the American words for it, because I'm not going to try to pronounce anything in Chinese.
It's a lot of fun trying to pronounce some of these words. So, I mean, there's pretty much a common thread. I mean, all of them have to do with either like a certain shape or some sort of figure climbing up on top of the person and pressing down on their chest and making it hard to breathe. And some seem like it's more directed, like an individual is directing it towards a person, and some of it have it kind of as an entity invading a person's home and doing it.
I think that's more how mine was, because I could hear them walking from far away, like slowly toward me.
No, I'm
like it's been like 9 years and I still like.
No, I'm gonna have to set up a recorder so I can see if maybe set up a camera on you while you're sleeping.
No, don't do that.
If it happens again. So that's some of the kind of the folklore explanation of it from different countries.
I will say, when it happened to me, I don't believe that I had ever really heard of it. Or maybe I didn't realize what it was. So.
Well, I mean, I think it was somewhat, people knew about it, but it wasn't really as out there as it is now. Like now, I feel like kind of like everybody knows about it. I brought it up that we were doing an episode on sleep paralysis at work, and people were like not surprised by the topic that I said.
Right.
Like they knew about it and they don't have any involvement in this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has to do with like, the documentary on Netflix, because anytime someone puts a documentary on Netflix, it's like the thing all of a sudden.
What I like about it is that, back long ago, people just thought it was demons or, but with science, we've learned it's actually a sleep disorder.
Right. And the more irregular that your sleep patterns are, the more likely it is actually to happen to you, because you're not getting that standard relaxing sleep. You're having a kind of a disrupted sleep pattern. Which
is what's bad, because like I said earlier, after it happened to me, I could not sleep.
Right, so which made you more prone to actually be able to have it happen to you again.
Exactly.
And I was doing a little bit of research, and I was able to find out that actually between 6 and 17% of all general adults have actually had this happen to them in their lifetime at least once. So you made the 6% at least.
Yeah.
And like I said, the more disruptive your sleep patterns are, the more likely it's actually able to happen to you. And actually nearly 30% of the people that it happened to were actually college students.
Really?
Because, staying up all night studying, or, just not getting enough sleep.
Mine was probably because I was pregnant.
Probably.
I could not sleep.
Right.
So other than lack of sleep, other things that have been known to cause it are sleep schedule changes, which also makes me think of you because yours is forever changing. Mental conditions such as depression or PTSD, sleeping on the back, which I don't do anymore.
Right.
When it happened to me, I was sleeping on my back. Narcolepsy, sleep apnea, some medications, or substance abuse. All can lead to it.
So, which
is like 99% of the population.
Right, I was going to say, so everybody should be having the old hag sit on their chest while they're sleeping. But it's surprising, and which would probably be why so many adults have it happen to. Nobody is on a regular schedule.
Right.
A lot of people, I try to sleep on my side. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the fact that I'm a side sleeper is what's saving me from the old hag. It shouldn't drive you crazy because it leaves more room for you.
No, it doesn't.
It does. I'm on my side, so I'm taking up less space. So, one of the other things is that this is scientifically how it's possible for this to happen. And that's because during REM sleep, your brain stems actually paralyze the body, inhibiting the motor neurons. So pretty much that way when you're dreaming, you're not flailing around all over the place or trying to run a marathon or anything that you possibly might be doing in your sleep. Your body is pretty much paralyzed so that it doesn't act on your dreams.
That's a good thing because I have weird dreams.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what I'd be doing.
It's probably why you had sleep paralysis.
Probably. So they say that it can happen at 2 different times. When you're falling asleep and going into REM, or when you're waking up. It's much more common when you're waking up.
That makes sense. I've heard that more than people being asleep and then it happening.
Yeah. So beyond the feeling of not being able to move or the pressure on your chest, hallucination's a big part of it. There's 3 different main categories. Mine would be the first one, which would be intruder. That's sounds of doorknobs opening, shuffling footsteps, a shadow man, or sense of a threatening presence in the room, which is what I had. I never seen anything, but I could hear it walking and breathing and hitting me. The incubus. Feelings of pressure on the chest, difficulty breathing with sense of being smothered, strangled, or sexually assaulted by a malevolent? Yes, thank you. Being.
So
and the person when that's happening, they often think they're about to die.
So that kind of falls into place with the old hag.
Right. And then the word I cannot say besides malevolent. Vestibular motor, which is a sense of spinning, falling, floating, flying, hovering over your own body, like an out-of-body experience.
So I wonder if that falls into people that's had it happen to them more than once.
Right. Yeah, just watching that documentary, there's people that's every single night it happens. I'm damn. That's bad.
So I wonder if that's almost self-induced at that point because it's disrupted. The more disrupted your sleep pattern are, the less sleep you get. If you naturally aren't getting sleep, you're going to start having some of those symptoms. You're going to start having hallucinations. And then, if you're scared to go to sleep, that's going to make all that even worse, I'd imagine.
I would think so.
And then they're possibly going to go get sleep medication, which a lot of those side, that you just listed, right? A lot of side effects,
right? Hallucination,
fall right into that category.
For sure. I was watching some videos on YouTube. It was sleep studies. You know how people go in to see what's going on with them or whatever.
Right.
And there was quite a few of people having it happen to them while they were doing their sleep study. So that was pretty cool to watch. Kind of creepy, but cool.
Because you were watching people sleeping.
That was a creeper, yeah.
Yeah. I can see that where that would be interesting. I mean, because often you hear about stories, but you don't see like a video of it actually happening. So where you have that first-hand impression of what happened, where you could see the person, all of a sudden start moving in complete panic.
Right. Yeah, and it was kind of creepy too, because since it's happened to me, I could kind of see, and I felt what they were, I was like, oh shit, I remember that.
Right, you saw the first signs before someone else that could have picked it up.
Yep.
All right, so what do you think? What do you think it is? I mean, is it paranormal in ties? Is it supernatural?
No.
Or is it just natural occurrence?
It's just your body being jacked up.
Just your body being jacked up?
Yeah.
Like all jacked up on Mountain Dew?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's anything paranormal. It's fun to tie it to that, Right.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I think there's enough scientific evidence of it that, in previous times, the folklore behind it really makes sense, because you would see the hallucinations and not necessarily think that that's a hallucination. So all the different stories from around the world of what their experiences was, and how that ties in with folklore and stuff gets kind of blown out of proportions and whatnot, and so those stories then become true. But nowadays, I mean, there's enough scientific evidence that proves otherwise, where we can explain it with sleep patterns. We know now that the body is paralyzed when you're in REM sleep, and it just happens that your mind wakes up a little bit faster than your body does. Yeah,
I think like back when they didn't know, like I can totally see my grandma being like, yeah, the devil's trying to get you. That was the grandma. That was
old
my grandma.
Scratch is sitting on your chest trying to kill you.
Because she always told me stuff like that.
Because you're dancing.
Right. If I dreamed about snakes, it was because the devil was coming to get me, or so.
And it's a lot of times where people are in like, they'll talk about when they're in like that fight or flight, that panic mode, and everything seems like it's slowed down, but it's happening at normal time. But to you, everything is happening in like almost in slow motion. So that, it may only be, 10 seconds, but for you, that experience felt like it was 10 minutes.
Right.
Because you're in panic and you can't breathe, you can't move your body, you think you can hear noises, which may just have just been the TV in another room.
I almost wonder sometimes, looking back on it, like, because I thought that house was haunted, I know that house was haunted, if it was more my mind playing tricks on me.
Right.
Like the guy walking up, or
if kind of like the whole, if you believe something hard enough, it's it happens.
Right.
You believe what you want to believe.
Yeah.
So you automatically tied the stories in of, I remember you telling the story of seeing something walking outside that wasn't there, but so you automatically tie that into you're paralyzed, and now you're hearing footsteps, which possibly could have just been one of the kids running through the house.
Or it was a ghost.
So, that's our interpretation of this. If anybody else out there has had any experiences with sleep paralysis, or, has a great story to tell, let us know.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Because I'd love to hear those stories. Especially since it happened to me, I like to know I'm not crazy and that it happens to other people. I want other people to suffer with me. If you have a story to share, email us at untildawnpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call us and leave us a voicemail.
Right, at 913-703-3296.
Which reminds me, we actually got a message, right?
Yes, we do. Let me,
in all of its glory.
Yes, let me play that right now.
What do you call a man with no body and no nose? Nobody knows.
So, there you go. If you also want to chime in with your jokes, stories, or anything else,
Only my friends, right?
right, you can go ahead and call us. And like I said, that number is 913-703-DAWN. Also, the one thing that we always ask of everybody is go in there and do those iTunes reviews. It's a huge help to the show. It makes it a lot easier for everybody to find us. Especially
since we don't put out episodes quick enough.
Right.
Which I take 100% responsibility for. I do.
You're doing good tonight. It's almost 9 o'clock and you're still awake.
It's like 2 hours past my bedtime.
Right. So, like I said, iTunes reviews, it's a huge help. It's it's the one thing that we ask of everybody. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify now. We're on Spotify, so if you have even if you don't have a premium membership, you can still listen to podcasts on there, and you can find us on there. We're also on Stitcher, and I think that's the only ones that we're on. If you listen to podcasts on something else and our show isn't on there, let us know, and I'll see what I can do about getting our show on there for you. We're also on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
All of it at Until Dawn Podcast.
Right.
That's about covers it.
That covers it?
Yep. I feel the bed calling me.
Yeah, it's like 8:59 and you're falling out. All right, so until next time, I'm Coy.
I'm Felicia.
And this is Until Dawn.